Chapter 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The enemy scrambled to get out of the way. Seriously, Mr. Zifa, your buddies aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. They think they can take on our pirate crew with just a handful of people. Luffy said, looking at the already panting Zifa, dumbfounded. Yeah, no pirate's gonna just roll over and play dead when you say that, Frankie retorted, equally ticked off by Ain's words, and he swung his arms forward, launching an attack. Ain reacted quickly, leaping out of the way. Binz also jumped aside as Frankie made contact, then began his ridiculous dance again. Lush lush, vines sprouted from the ground, binding Frankie tightly, immobilizing him. That's the power of a devil fruit. The lush lush fruit. The lush lush dance can control all plants. Looks like your friends aren't doing so hot. Heh. Take this, straw hat. Seeing Binz trap Frankie, Zephyr thought victory was within reach. Things don't look good over there. Sanji observed from above, a little worried. It's alright, Bonnie and Yuta are down there. Just focus on dealing with Zephyr. Uncle Zephyr, watch out. One sword style, dragon out of water. Luffy gripped his sword with both hands, crouching low before swinging his arms upward. The blade arced in a wide circle, stabbing toward the sky like a dragon leaping from the water. The powerful attack sent Zephyr flying. Teacher Zephyr. Ain rushed forward to help Zephyr, who didn't resist the assistance. Looking up at Luffy descending from above, Zephyr smiled bitterly. Looks like I'm getting old. But I am Zifa. Dynamic notes. Yuta, from Binz's side, launched an attack. With a dynamic note, Binz lost his sense of direction. However, Zephyr and the other two didn't give up and continued fighting. 3 rounds, flower blooming. Robin attempted to restrain the recovered Binz, but the guy was too fast and dodged. Too quick to grab. Leave it to me. Stave. Yuta used her observation haki to predict Binz's landing spot and hurled a stave, pinning him in place. Cloud Veil. Nami released clouds around herself as a protective barrier against Ain. She wasn't sure what Ain's powers were, but caution was necessary. Gust Sword. Nami prepared to unleash a gust of wind, but Ain spotted an opening. Ain immediately used his ability. Get back. Get back. Nami. He actually gave Nami a gravity boost. Chopper, seeing Nami vanish, immediately transformed, waving his fist at Ain. Get back. Get back. Ain remained unfazed. He touched Chopper's arm again, leaving Chopper with only a single piece of clothing. Stop it. 6-wheeled flower blooming. Robin restrained Ain. You're a devil fruit user. What did you do to Nami and Chopper? Robin. Undo the power quickly. The pint-sized version of Nami gasped for air from inside her coat, and shouted hurriedly at Robin, but it was too late. Back, back. Ain touched Robin's arm directly, turning her younger. Ain looked at his right hand. I ate the age reversal fruit. My ability can rewind anything by 12 years. You must be around 18 now. Ah. I'm so small. Chopper looked at his tiny form, digging and digging in the garden. I only need to touch you twice more. 12 years plus 12 years equals 24 years, and I can erase your existence. I won't give you the chance. Luffy's busy fighting right now and can't see the sisters. Bonnie jumped down and patted Nami and the others. Nami and Chopper instantly returned to normal. How could this happen? Ain was bewildered to see his power negated. I ate the age fruit. I can change my age at will. I can age you up to 100 or de-age you to a newborn. Bonnie pointed at Ain, who was visibly flustered, and said proudly. Smash Buster. Zifa grew anxious seeing his two subordinates at a disadvantage, their attacks weakening. His attack was accompanied by an explosion. Of course, Luffy wasn't stupid, and he wouldn't try to block it head-on. He quickly retreated, and then he slashed out 2 beams of sword energy with his fingers. A wisp of breeze becomes sword energy, cleaving mountains and rivers for 30,000 miles. That's it. Zoro was excited to see Luffy using his finger as a sword. Even Hawkeye couldn't do that. Zephyr couldn't dodge the sword energy, so he had to endure the attack. The rookie Navy finally stopped spectating and began to assist. Kid, tell me your name. Sorry for underestimating you earlier. Zephyr hadn't paid attention to Luffy's name before. Grandpa Zephyr's really forgetful. My name is Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy scratched his ear and looked at the new navy rushing onto the ship. With a burst of Conqueror's Haki, a large number of them collapsed. Really? You're Garp's grandson? No wonder. Kid. Let's continue. Zephyr was not defeated yet. Looks like if I don't beat you, you won't listen. I'll have to get serious. Don't use your mechanical arm. Luffy struck Zephyr's mechanical arm directly. He used Conqueror's Haki. Zepha's mechanical arm shattered instantly, leaving Zepha in shock. Zepha was completely convinced. What? Kid, you're worthy of being the guy who beat the Golden Lion. I lost. You can kill me or chop me up as you please. Why would I kill you? I just want to talk to you. Luffy was dumbfounded. This guy was crazy. He started a fight when he didn't agree, and now he wants Luffy to kill him. Teacher Z. Ain's eyes showed confusion. In her eyes, pirates were all the same. They do all kinds of evil and bring disaster to people. Huh, you're worthy of being Garp's grandson. Kid, tell me, how do you know about me? Garp, that old codger, wouldn't tell you about me. Also, your grandfather's a marine, so why do you want to be a pirate? Thinking about it, Zepha couldn't help but feel relieved. He was wondering if he'd made a mistake in his actions. Well, that's what my grandfather said. And my unreliable dad. But, Uncle Zephyr, I can't agree with your plan. Some pirates deserve it, but the residents of the New World are innocent. The world government is in the wrong. Let me take this opportunity to tell you some things I know about the world government. Luffy touched his head. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, you're into government stuff too? Guess that makes sense, your dad being a marine and all. But seriously, why pirates? I need a good answer. Zephyr thought he had Luffy figured out, but still wanted to hear it straight from him. Well, it's 'cause of Shanks, and my dream. Luffy grinned. Shanks kinda set me on this path, and my dream is. He trailed off, keeping it secret. Wow, that's quite a dream. Ha ha ha, I can't wait to see you make it happen. Zephyr chuckled, realizing Luffy was just as out there as his grandpa Garp. But honestly, that kind of crazy ambition was exactly what he wanted to see. Teacher Zepha, this pirate's different, Ain said, her eyes sparkling. Luffy wasn't like any pirate she'd met before. Looking at his sharp features and listening to his insane dreams, a warmth flickered in her usually cold heart. Just a flicker, though. Ah, you're definitely Garp's grandson. A pirate with a conscience, huh? Kid, you said you knew something about what's going on with the government. Zepha's face turned serious. This wasn't a game. I told him about the bird, Uncle Zepha. Here's the deal. Luffy explained everything. So, what do you think, Uncle? Is the world government really on the up and up? My grandpa's practically drowning in his own sense of justice. Ain and Bin stared, wide-eyed. Zepha himself was shocked. You're saying there's another king above the 5 elders, this imp you mentioned? Yep. I even got Morgans to print it in the newspaper. You've probably seen it. Luffy grinned, pulling out a paper. Ha ha ha, I get it now. So, got any solutions? I'm Joy Boy's successor. I'm here to fight him. Check this out, Teacher Zifa. Luffy then activated Gear 5, turning into his white, rubbery form. And here, take a look at these. Luffy pulled out several copies of Red Revolution and handed them to Zifa, who immediately dove into them. The Revolutionary Army's running with these ideas now, and I'm the one who pointed them this way. Didn't write it myself, just gave them a direction to go. Luffy said casually. Good thinking. You want me to join the Revolutionary Army? This looks like it came from their third-in-command, Xingchen. Zifa passed the books to Ein. Yeah, I'm trying to convince you. I am Xingchen. It's my code name. Ein's eyes lit up, looking at Luffy with more admiration, maybe even a little affection. This guy didn't just stop Zifa, he made him want to join the revolution. Who was he? And his crew had devil fruits that were both complementary and the opposite of hers. So, Teacher Zifa, what do you say? Luffy pressed. Zifa looked at Ein and Bins, then at his own right hand. Alright, I'll train the Revolutionary Army's new recruits. What do you two think? Whatever you decide, Teacher Zifa, they replied in unison. Awesome. Mr. Zifa, happy to have you on board. Luffy stuck out his hand, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and just like that, a 3-generation alliance was born. Luffy looked at Ein. Girls look better when they smile. Nobody likes a sourpuss. Mind your own business. Ein blushed, wanting the ground to swallow her whole. Next up, Mr. Zifa, I'm gonna fix that arm of yours. Hold still. Chopper, help me out. Luffy winked at Chopper. Luffy, I can't do it. Chopper panicked, running around the ship. Ha, forget it, don't sweat it, Chopper. I'm used to it, Zifa said. Never mind, Chopper, I was kidding. Here, study this. Master Zifa, take one of these. Luffy pulled 2 pills out of nowhere, handing one to Zifa and one to Chopper. Teacher Zifa. Ein and Bins tensed up as Zifa actually went to take the pill. They had no idea what it was. Relax, Zifa said, stopping them. He swallowed the pill, it was bitter, but had a hint of sweetness. After a moment, he felt a tingling in his right arm, a new arm was growing back, incredibly fast. In seconds, a brand new arm appeared before everyone's eyes. No way. It's completely healed. Luffy's amazing. It actually grew back, Ein's usually icy face broke into a tearful smile. Congratulations, Teacher Zifa. See? That's a smile. Looks pretty good, but even better without the waterworks. Luffy couldn't resist teasing her, Ein snapped, punching Luffy. Shut up. You have such a handsome face, why do you have to open your mouth? Luffy let her hit him, it didn't hurt anyway. But then, he noticed something different in the air. He looked up and saw all the girls staring at him with stars in their eyes. Luffy, you're so cute, I want to hug you. Nami exclaimed. Seriously, me too. Bonnie chimed in. Why didn't I realize you were this cute when we were kids? Yuta wondered. Luffy, so adorable. Shirahoshi gushed. Kawaii asterisk. Robin said. I'll show you. Sundra, but you are pretty cute, can I hug you too? Ein shrunk Luffy down with her fruit power, even though Luffy could use Haki to break free, who could resist being smothered by a bunch of beautiful women? In the meantime, Luffy was chatting with Zifa in the woman's heart. Luffy, how'd you get so lucky? Sanji sobbed, clutching his suit. That's one heck of a medicine. Zifa moved his new right hand, finding it surprisingly natural. He glanced at Luffy, who was now trapped in Ein's arms, and smiled. Ein was finally coming around. Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were tight. So, where do I even start looking for the Revolutionary Army? Zifa asked Luffy. He wasn't about to let him go hunting down some mysterious headquarters on his own. Uncle Zifa, stick with us for now. Someone will meet you when we get to Dressrosa, okay? Luffy was sprawled on Ein's lap, letting the girls fuss over him. Sounds good. Zifa chuckled, looking at Ein. Alright, Ein, quit it and undo Luffy's ability. No need. Luffy hopped up, and in a flash, he was back to normal. Everyone stared, surprised. When your haki gets strong enough, you can shrug off devil fruit powers. Guess the rumors are true. Didn't expect yours to be that impressive, especially at 19. You're too kind. I'm not there yet, Luffy said, trying to sound humble. Ha ha ha. You're way more modest than that old geezer Garp. Ein, you should hang out with Luffy more, get to know him. You're both young. Zifa eyed his students, figuring Ein couldn't be stuck to him forever, while Bin's was more his speed. Yes, sir. Ein nodded, a little flustered, and glanced at Luffy, who was already back to his lounging. Seeing his carefree attitude, she couldn't help but think, are these guys really pirates? Luffy noticed Ein checking him out but didn't sweat it. Plenty of time to figure things out later. Luffy and the crew kept chatting, and before they knew it, lunchtime rolled around. Sanji had whipped up a feast. At the table, Ein watched the Straw Hat's refined eating habits and burst out laughing. Hey, you laughed. You totally laughed. Luffy suddenly popped up in her face, looking for a reaction. Ein froze. This guy was seriously annoying and had no class. Did he actually think? Was I the weird one, or him? Definitely him. Brew brew brew. Brew brew brew, that the den den mushy on the side suddenly started ringing. Everyone looked over at the snail phone. Who could that be? Maybe it's a telemarketer. Ugh, telemarketers are the worst. Who cares? If it's an enemy, we'll just kick their butts. Luffy grabbed the phone. Yo, who's this? So cold. Is that the boss? A shaky voice came through the den den mushy. TSK, who are you, and what boss are you talking about? Usopp, always impatient, jumped in since Luffy wasn't saying anything. Someone, please, you gotta help me. Samurai are gonna kill me. A desperate cry came from the other end, and everyone on the Sunny exchanged confused glances. Okay, calm down. I know you're about to die, but hang in there. Where are you? Maybe we can, take a different route. Usopp said, trying to be helpful. The crew snickered. Usopp, I try not to laugh, but you're killing me, Luffy groaned, rubbing his forehead. Please, anyone, come save me. It's Punk Hazard. A scream of pain, then silence. Alright, did everyone hear that? Steer clear of Punk Hazard, Usopp declared. Steer clear. Nami, full speed ahead for Ice and Fire Island, Punk Hazard. People on a deserted island. Sounds like fun. Luffy grinned. Punk Hazard. Isn't that place off limits? Zifa asked, then seemed to remember something. Right, like the government cares about keeping anything locked down. The government blocked it off, uncle. What's the story with that place? Usopp asked quickly. 3 years ago, there was an experiment gone wrong by the government scientist Dr. Vegapunk, causing a massive explosion. Turned it into a wasteland. Then, 2 years ago, Akainu and Akiji had their big showdown there. The world government's been keeping it under wraps ever since, Zephyr explained. They call it Ice and Fire Island because it's got these two opposite extremes, half volcano, half frozen wasteland. That's what happened when Kazan and Sakazuki went at it. And if I had to guess, that experiment 3 years ago was all Caesar Clown's doing. Anyway, let's get moving. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the new world. Hello, who is? This is Punkasa. Mr. Smoker. It's the Straw Hat brats. I can hear you, you idiot. Are they headed for Punk Hazard? Smoker, ever the straight shooter, snapped at Tashigi. That guy's there too. I'm gonna get all those famous swords back from him this time. Those two were a piece of work. One was obsessed with Luffy, the other with Zoro. Poor Sanji was always forgotten. Go, now. Full speed ahead, Punk Hazard. Smoker bellowed. Vice Admiral Smoker, Punk Hazard is a restricted zone. Aren't we breaking the law doing this? Forget the law. Just sail. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two of them were over the moon. Well, I'll be. Looks like even you, Teach, got stopped by Straw Hat. A voice, familiar yet strange, drifted from the sunny. It sounded totally laid back. Everyone except Luffy and Zephyr turned toward the sound, exclaiming, "An admiral." Akiji, Luffy, still sprawled on the lawn with his eyes closed, drawled, "It's pretty rude to just hop on someone's ship without saying hey, Akiji, or should I call you Kazan now? Kazan, you here to rub it in?" Zephyr chuckled, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Hey, long time no see." "Nah, just came to check on you, Teach. Speaking of which, Straw Hat, mind if I come aboard?" "If you don't say anything, I'll take that as a yes." "And yeah, you can call me that. I'm out of the Navy now. Didn't expect you to do this, though. What's the game plan?" Akiji made himself comfortable, sprawling out too. Luffy grinned slyly. "Uncle's thinking of joining the Revolutionary Army. You wanna tag along? You still seem lost, man. Might as well. Lying to one person, lying to two, no skin off my back. 2 admiral-level guys. That's a steal. Straw Hat, what's your take on justice?" "Never mind, dumb question to ask a pirate." Akiji scratched his head. "For me. As long as my crew's safe and the world's got enough grub, that's justice enough." Luffy smiled slightly. "What a hopelessly naive idea, but that's what makes you you, I guess. You're definitely Garp's grandson. You're a chip off the old block. By the way, Kazan, read these books." Luffy wanted me to check them out, too. Zephyr looked at Luffy, his image blurring with Garp's. "Figures." Akiji's forehead beaded with sweat. He took the red books from Zephyr and started flipping through them. "Wait a sec, isn't this stuff by that Mr. Shinchin guy who just joined the revolutionaries? How'd you get these?" "'Cause I'm Shinchin." Luffy shrugged casually. "Guess Red Dog's really cracking down." "Seriously? Well, I'll mull it over. Where are you headed now?" "Red Dog? What's that about?" Akiji touched his mushroom-shaped hair. "Punk Hazard." Nami glanced at Luffy, then slowly walked over and gently rested his head on her lap. Yuta and Bonnie exchanged glances and started feeding him. Sanji instantly passed out. "Wow, you lucky dog." Akiji, at a loss for words, finally managed to say. "Humph, creeper." I muttered, for some reason feeling a little put out. "Hey, Ein, what's that supposed to mean?" "I just want to give all the pretty girls in the world a place to call home." "You in?" Luffy opened his eyes halfway, teasing her. "You jerk. Become a kid." And with that, Luffy was little Luffy again. Hey, not cool stealing my girl right in front of me, little Luffy." Zephyr said, feigning annoyance, but the grin on his face gave him away. "Okay, we're here. Who's coming with?" Luffy looked at the burning island ahead, instantly returning to his normal size. "I'm in." Zoro. "Me too." Robin. "I don't want to leave Luffy." Nami, who had been getting closer and closer to Luffy recently, quickly grabbed his arm. "Teach, I want to go too." Ein looked at Zephyr with pleading eyes. Zephyr smiled. Go if you want. It's your life, isn't it? Nami, please. Leave it to me. A cloud path appeared before them. Luffy and the others set off on the Mini Mary, with lunchboxes packed by Sanji. Alright, Teach, I've made up my mind. I'm joining the Revolutionary Army with you. After Luffy left, Akiji approached Zephyr. Looks like you've thought it through. Zephyr seemed to know Kazan would choose this path, and didn't press him for an explanation. Luffy and the others sat on the Mary, happily munching on Sanji's lunch boxes. Luffy, open wide. Nami fed him a piece of meat, then kissed him. Except for Zoro, the other two blushed. It's getting hot in here. Starlight, get cold. Luffy, feeling the temperature rise, used his star fruit powers to create a cool breeze, enveloping the five of them. Since Zoro is here, I won't take it off. P.S. I will update again in June, one chapter first. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The more you see, the more you want, the more you have, the more you can use. Simple, but effective, Robin remarked, gazing at the dark blue aura enveloping him. He pointed a finger skyward. Feels pretty damn good, too. Yeah, I can actually feel a cool breeze in this fiery wasteland. It's a real blessing. Hey, guys, we're here. I'm called out from ahead. This is Punk Hazard. 4 years ago, that crazy scientist Caesar's experiments caused a massive explosion. 2 years back, Akainu and Akiji had their showdown here. The world governments got the whole island blocked off. Shouldn't be anyone around. In this day and age, anything's possible. After all, the dude who messed with your teacher's head became a warlord of the sea, Luffy said casually. You're right. I just can't wrap my head around what the world government and the Navy are thinking, Ain replied, her voice tinged with disappointment. Take it easy. This warlord crap has little to do with the Navy. The world government appoints those guys directly. The Navy's just a puppet dancing to their tune. It's those geezers in the Holy Land, and the one above them, who really pull the strings. They approached the fence. Zoro sliced it open with a single stroke. That's why every time my grandpa came home when I was a kid, he'd try to beat me into joining the Marines, but I wasn't having any of it. Too restrictive. Freedom, huh? More like you didn't want to get your butt kicked by Vice Admiral Garp, Luffy, Ain teased. I'm going to follow Mr. Zephyr to the Revolutionary Army anyway. Ain glanced at Luffy and found herself lost in thought. You guys don't even look like pirates. Being with him would be great. What are you talking about? I'm a troublemaker. I'm responsible for everything that happened in the city. So, you want to chase your dream with me? Zeph's dream is my dream, Ain said. Dreams aren't bad. TSK, so serious, Luffy said, bored, shaking his head, but suddenly looked diagonally upward. There, a woman with wings and a bird's lower body was staring down at them. Monet panicked. She kept a poker face, but beads of cold sweat trickled down her forehead. He found me. This guy's aura is even scarier than Doflamingo's. Without a second thought, Monet flapped her wings and took off. Hey, what's up with Luffy? Nami asked, noticing Luffy staring intently in one direction. Nah, nothing. The moment Monet turned to flee, Luffy's voice echoed in her mind. What a pretty lady. Be even better if she had human legs, though. Is that Caesar's weird taste? Monet blushed. He called me pretty. But then, she froze. How does he know Caesar is here? This guy is terrifying. I gotta warn Caesar. Luffy. Look over there. Nami said, grabbing Luffy's arm, her voice trembling. Luffy turned his head. Oh, isn't that the dumb dragon? Not nearly as cool as my Chinese dragon, though. Hey, how about we roast that dragon and have it for dinner? Luffy suggested, wrapping his arms around the three women, making them uncomfortable. I'm in, Zoro said, already unsheathing his swords. Meanwhile, back on the Sunny. Is that the ship of those intruders? Bring them back to the boss. Go, that the group had no idea who was on board. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The enemy was moving fast. Release the hypnotic gas bomb. Careful, people. Several guys in hazmat suits had already set up a ladder against the Sunny, just a couple of steps from climbing aboard. Whoa there, fellas, what's all this then? Mind if I join in? That the leader froze at the strange voice. He turned his head, stiffly. Mushroom. Whoa now, that's a bit rude, pal. Akiji towered over them. The guys started sweating bullets. Admiral Akiji. What are you doing here? Run. We're outmatched. The leader panicked, yelling for his men to retreat. Didn't anyone ever tell you it's rude to leave without saying goodbye? Ice Age. They were instantly encased in ice. Not one of them got away to report what happened. Geez, those guys in those hazmat suits must be roasting. Usopp grumbled. But nobody paid him any attention. He didn't want to make a fool of himself. Meanwhile, Luffy and the others. Two-sword style, stairway slash. Zoro hefted two swords, pointing them upwards. He aimed right at the dumb dragon's gaping mouth. Hey, stupid dragon, look over here. Gum fire fist pistol. Luffy used the move to honor Ace again, slamming a punch into the dragon's gut. Its eyes rolled back in its head. Thundercloud tempo, thunder. A lightning bolt crashed down, striking the dumb dragon's head. Roar. The dumb dragon roared, spewing hot flames from its mouth, heading straight for Luffy and the crew. Is that all? This thing's got thick skin, Luffy said, surprised that none of their attacks had broken through the dragon's defense. Stormy weather egg, storm. Nami used her weather stick to summon a localized storm. The dragon's flames were snuffed out. Hey, stupid dragon, look at me. Luffy walked slowly towards the dragon in the downpour. Domain expansion, Demon Chef. Alright. If you're still alive after this, I'll have to admit that old man Vegapunk is one heck of a genius. With that, Luffy unleashed the Demon Chef. The dumb dragon crashed to the ground, motionless. Let's roast this sucker. Luffy grabbed the dragon with one hand, tossed it into the sea of fire, and pulled out some seasoning from his system space. Hold on a second. Not hot, man. Suddenly, a voice came from inside the dragon's body. Did the dragon just talk? It did. Everyone except Luffy was stunned. They weren't too keen on eating a talking dragon. Luffy slapped a hand to his forehead. How could I forget about this guy? If Momonosuke's gone, this guy is gonna commit ritual suicide. Oh well. Luffy reached in and pulled Kinemon's lower body out. So that's what's talking. This ability's kinda familiar. Phew, good thing it's not the dragon talking. I wouldn't want to eat a talking dragon, Nami sighed in relief, looking at Robin and Ain. Who is it? I can feel your presence. You're one of the 7 warlords, too. Watch out. Kinemon roared, aiming a kick directly at Luffy. Luffy returned the favor, kicking him right in the crotch. Knock it off. Snap. That didn't hurt at all. It's already broken. Luffy's way too brutal. Nami and the others winced. Ah, sorry. Let's eat up and bring some back for the others. Luffy, are you sure they'll even be able to eat? You really went to town on this thing already. I'm teased. Nami had told her all about Luffy's appetite. Luffy grinned sheepishly and changed the subject. Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The other side of the island. Totally iced over. Wait, the whole other side is ice and snow. What the heck is going on? Usopp yelped, grabbing Akiji's tie, nose practically touching his face. Whoa, whoa, easy there, Pinocchio. Didn't I mention that before? Akiji said, lifting Usopp up by one hand. He didn't, but Zifa did. Long Nose here was zoning out as usual. Anyway, this is where you and Akainu threw down for the Fleet Admiral gig for 10 days straight, right? And there are people living here? Sanji said, kicking Usopp in the head and lighting a cigarette. Yep, that's the spot. Akiji replied. Then let's chill, till Luffy gets back. We're probably heading to the other side, Sanji decided, meanwhile, on the opposite shore. No kidding, the other side is a total icebox, Nami muttered, gazing up at the frosty landscape. We'll hit it up when we're back on the ship. The Den Den Mushi says it's freezing, and there are tons of people over there. No sooner had Luffy spoken than a centaur ambushed them, swinging a weapon. Eat this, invader. Whoa, look what we got here, a centaur. Luffy yelled, dodging the attack and pinning the centaur to the ground. Damn invader. The centaur spat. Invader? Last I checked, this place was off limits. You're under arrest, you lawbreaker. Luffy declared, feeling like some righteous marine. What is he doing? Is he playing cop? Dude, you're a pirate. Act like one. I can't tell who's the bad guy here, Ein said, bewildered. Crap, is that the Navy? What are you doing here? Boss, run. The hapless centaur didn't even get a chance to hand off the flower to T-Beard before Luffy knocked him out. Navy? Please. Let's check out that river in the middle of Ice and Fire Island, Luffy said, squinting. Looks like the guys we want are on the other side. Let's head back to the ship and get over there. Asterisk ding. Plot point triggered, Punk Hazard. Mission, rescue the kidnapped children held by Caesar, asterisk. Reward, Bankai, Tensa Zangetsu. Ugh, kids. What a pain. Fine, fine, for the sake of Bankai, I'll save your butts, Luffy grumbled inwardly. Hey, Luffy, get a move on. Let's head back. Nami yelled, seeing Luffy standing there in a daze. Then she spotted the goofy dragon in Luffy's hand. I can't believe they're still falling for that dragon trick. Luffy's really growing up, huh? Growing up? You haven't seen anything yet, Luffy said, flashing over to Nami and taking a deep breath. Knock it off, you big goof. Always acting up, Nami said, blushing. Not in front of everyone. Luffy was such a tease. So forward, Ein gasped, shocked by the exchange. Soon, Luffy and the others were back on the Sunny. Alright, it's decided. Our target is the other side of Punk Hazard, Ice and Snow Island. Did everyone get that? Do what Nami says, ASAP. Sanji barked, instantly turning into a simp. Mr. Sanji, simping is a dangerous game, Bins observed, out of nowhere. Shut your trap. I was born to serve beautiful ladies. What would you know, you musclehead? Sanji snapped. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was furious. Trafalgar Law. What are you doing here? This place is off limits. You trying to throw away that Shichibukai gig you worked so hard for? Smoker yelled, pointing at Law, who had just shown up in the lab doorway. Law just shrugged, playing it cool. Piracy's illegal. As long as the Shichibukai don't go overboard, we're good. And let me say it again, I'm the only one here. Clear out, or I'm gonna have to get rough. Vice Admiral Smoker. Let's bail. I don't want any trouble with this guy. Yeah, he's a total psycho. He actually turned in 100 pirate hearts just to become a Shichibukai. That's messed up. Shut your traps. Smoker glared at Trafalgar Law. You really not gonna move? Nope. White Snake. Smoker instantly transformed into smoke, lunging at Law. Thick white tendrils shot toward Law's face. Law didn't even flinch. He raised his sword to block the attack. With his free hand, he pointed downward slightly. Meanwhile, Luffy and his crew had made it to the island. Luffy used his observation haki and picked up on something. Whoa, there's a fight going on inside. Let's go say hi to some old friends. Old friend? Zoro gripped his sword, ready for action. Little did Zoro know, the woman who'd given him so much grief was also on the island. Who's the bold friend, Luffy? Nami asked, looking wary. Luffy didn't seem to be talking about an enemy, but she still felt a bad vibe. You'll see when we get there. I'm heading in. Luffy didn't answer Nami. Instead, he bolted toward the lab. Hey! Wait up! Luffy! By the time Nami finished speaking, Luffy had vanished. Seriously? Always like this? Great, looks like my old anxieties from 2 years ago are back. Usopp looked pale, clearly spooked. We know. Thought the Straw Hat Pirates, thinking back to the last 2 years. Nami. Is Luffy gonna be okay? Ain asked, looking worried. Relax, Luffy's tougher than you think. Ain, come with us. Don't go running off with Uncle Zifa to the Revolutionary Army. We all like you. Nami said, pulling Ain closer. They're trying to steal my recruits again. Zifa muttered to Bins. Oh well, Bins is sticking with me. Ain deserves her own happiness. Ain, you go ahead and travel with them. Don't worry about me, just an old man after this trip. This is the first mission the Revolutionary Army has given you. But Teacher Zifa. Ain started to protest, but Zifa cut her off. Just do it. For some reason, Ain felt a surge of happiness. Bin scratched his head, thinking how lucky he was to be with Teacher Zifa. Give it up, Smoker. You can't win. I told you, I'm the only one on this island. Law said coldly, looking at the heavily panting Smoker. Stop the BS. I'll see for myself if anyone's in there. White launcher. Whoosh. Suddenly, a voice rang out as Luffy appeared right between Smoker and Law's attacks. Chapter 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were ambushed. Bang! Luffy materialized between Law and Smoker just as the attack landed, intercepting Law's sword with one hand and kicking away Smoker's smoke tendrils with a single foot. What? Law and Smoker were equally stunned, staring at Luffy's sudden appearance, completely thrown off balance. Trafalgar, weren't you the only one supposed to be on this island? Care to explain this? Smoker growled, furious. If it wasn't for Luffy, he would have taken Law down already. But Luffy, of course, had to be the thorn in his side, inside the institute. Monet, found the intruder yet? A swirl of purple gas materialized before Monet. Don't scare our precious kids. Yes, but this intruder's proving to be a handful. Monet adjusted her glasses with her wing, Luffy's parting words echoing in her mind. He really is, such a softie. Makes me wanna cry. A handful, huh? You know what to do. Caesar suddenly appeared beside Monet, grinning maliciously. Joker said you're here to take a bullet for me, so when you run into someone you can't handle, Monet, you know the drill. Yeah, I know. Monet replied tonelessly. Her life had been saved by Doflamingo, therefore, it belonged to him. She would do whatever he asked. So, who else is invading besides that mad dog Smoker that Law's dealing with? Send Virgo after them. It's Luffy, the Straw Hat. Caused quite a stir during the war 2 years back. Grandfather's Garp, father's dragon of the revolutionaries, defeated Shiki the Golden Lion, a 3-fruit power user, and he has a bounty of over $1 billion. Monet rattled off Luffy's resume. Caesar started sweating. Why did such a big shot have to come here? He doesn't know about my experiments on the kids, does he? He wouldn't be coming to punish me, would he? Wouldn't rule it out. Monet smiled faintly. Luffy, what are you doing here? Law knew Luffy had been making waves lately, but how did he end up here? Got a distress call. I was bored, so I thought I'd check it out. Found you two duking it out. Come on, guys, let's all be friends. Luffy threw his arms around them, nearly forcing them to kiss. Get off me, you idiot. Smoker protested. Hey, my crew's here. Law, let's form an alliance. Luffy blurted out the alliance proposal, catching Law completely off guard. He then swiveled his head towards Tashigi. Tashigi, beautiful navy swordswoman, Zoro sends his regards. Luffy's sudden appearance had startled Tashigi, and his words made her face flush red. Don't talk nonsense. What do you want? Smoker struggled to break free. Trafalgar, don't you want to be a warlord? You went to so much trouble to get the title. Ah, that position is meaningless. I'm interested in forming an alliance with Straw Hat. Law grinned. Things were getting interesting. Hey! Luffy, why are you running so fast? Zoro and the others arrived at the Institute's entrance. Smoker, Law, and the others stared, dumbfounded, at Luffy's assembled crew. Unbeknownst to everyone else, Caesar had already begun his plan for self-preservation. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, time to get the band back together. Not so fast, slowpokes. Luffy called out, tilting his head at the approaching figures. Hey, Akiji, come say hi to your old buddy. Talk some sense into him, he's being a real hardhead. Seriously? Am I dreaming? Smoker's cigar dropped from his jaw in disbelief. What was he seeing? Trafalgar's beatdown from earlier had definitely been real. This couldn't be an illusion. Akiji joined the Straw Hats. And who's that? Law muttered, sweating. They were all part of the worst generation, but how were they so strong? Their sidekick was better than everyone else. And they were still letting people join their crew? Oh, hey Smoker. Sashi's ignoring me. Akiji said, scratching his mushroom-cut hair. He hadn't expected to run into Smoker here. Well, look who it is, Smoker. Zephyr's eyes showed a hint of nostalgia. Time sure flies. Smoker was already getting up there in years. You're Zephyr. Instructor. But that's impossible. Smoker had a clear memory of Zephyr dying in battle against Kizaru. Ha, I'm doing alright. The Straw Hat Kid and his crew saved me. Looks like you and Luffy know each other pretty well. Don't be ridiculous. I don't know any pirates. I wish I could lock them all up. Smoker's face flushed slightly at Zephyr's suggestion, but he quickly regained his composure. The others don't matter. Tell me, I thought you said you were the only one on this island. Who else is holed up in this lab? Alright, now that the Straw Hat Captain's here, no need to hide anything. Come with me. Let's talk about this alliance. Smoker, you too, Law said, glancing at Smoker. Smoker scoffed, turning his head away. Who wants to ally with you? I just want to know who's inside the lab. It's probably Caesar Clown. He sent some goons after us on the ship. Kuzan and Uncle Zifa were there too. How'd they even think they could pull that off? We made them wish they'd never been born. Luffy said, grinning. Soon, Law and Luffy hammered out the details of their alliance. Smoker stared at them, dumbfounded. Is this something I'm even supposed to be hearing? You two jerks, are you really just going to pretend I'm not even here? Come on, Smoker, we're all friends here. Life isn't just about fighting. It's about making connections, you know. Meanwhile, the Yeti Cool brothers, under Caesar's orders, were preparing to deal with Luffy and the others, and Virgo had already arrived inside the lab. He, Virgo, you're here. Your underlings are anything but cute. They actually tried to sneak into the lab. Caesar, in his human form, approached Virgo. I'm here to take care of these pests. Mr. Virgo, did you eat a hamburger today? Monet asked, noticing the steak on Virgo's face and pushing up her glasses as a reminder. Suddenly, Luffy's voice echoed in Monet's head. Hey beautiful, do you know who's really responsible for your country's destruction? Come talk to me, and I'll tell you. Monet was stunned. What did that mean? Wasn't her country destroyed by Germa 66 in the North Sea? Go to him to find out the truth. Unconsciously, Monet's loyalty began to waver. How did you know? Virgo asked. Monet pointed to his mouth. Oh, right, I forgot. Outside the pirate world. Jiang Cheng, you owe your sister big time for switching Monet's loyalty away from Doflamingo. The purple-haired woman chuckled, smiling fondly.